What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network and the Woodward Bets Show. I'm Scott G. Risen with you today. With me today is my ghost partner, which would be nobody. I don't really have any friends today, but we're still going to continue on with the show, but that's okay. We had some prior commitments today, but we're going to still get you some information you need to build all your teams and get some bets in today. We got some start-sit questions we're going to look at. We got some exciting stuff going on in the sports world today. I don't know about you guys, but I've been really excited about this Ryder Cup. A lot of fun to watch. I've been sitting around today and checking that out. Looks like USA won the first round today, 3-1, which was pretty cool. But, man, if you guys get a chance, there was a shot that Jordan Spieth made that he was on this crazy hill, and he shot it out of this really long rough and went up in the air, fell back down, and man, it was an incredible shot. He had to run down, almost fell in the lake. It looked like, but man, it was a hell of a shot. I saw it all over Twitter, which was just sweet when the crowd goes crazy. It's just a fun event to watch. They're doing a really good job out there in Wisconsin. But the other news we heard, there's some COVID issues. Sounds like the Lions kicker's got COVID, may miss if he doesn't test negative here in the next couple days. So that's a little bit of concern. We already seen him miss a few. A lot of bad kickers in the NFL. So that's going to be another issue potentially for the Lions as we move into the weekend here. The other thing we saw last night, which was just pretty tilting. I know we like to have that tilted segment, but here we go again with the CMC injuries. Not good when it's a hamstring, really not good at all. We're going to have to see how that shakes out here moving forward. But, yeah, went out early in the second quarter, ended up only getting 5 points in the showdowns. And as we talked yesterday, he was pretty much 68% owned on the FanDuel showdown, 88% owned overall. So he was the captain in 68, I should say, 88% overall, which was crazy. So basically, if you didn't have CMC, it was basically a ticket to cash. Obviously, the lineups that won did not have CMC, but obviously for the season-long owners, that's going to be pretty frustrating moving forward. I was a victim of that last year, holding on to him, hoping he comes back. So hopefully you got an IR in your season-long league. But, yeah, here we go again with CMC, which kind of sucks. But yesterday, my partner on the show for the showdown, he had a great call on DJ Moore in the captain spot, which he had a great game. Really put you up there in them tournaments. If you did not have CMC, you had some DJ Moore, and then obviously had some Darnold, which ended up being the winning combination. So, yeah, a lot of fun there in them showdown contents. So tomorrow we're going to have us a show early in the morning. We're going to talk some college football, talk about some best for some college football. So be sure you get to join us there before you put in some plays for tomorrow. Obviously, we're going to get some information. We'll get you some betting trends. We'll talk about some Big Ten football. We'll talk about our two teams around here, Michigan State, which both undefeated. But we'll be sure to get into that kind of stuff. And then Sunday, we're going to have the Chris Prince, the AK Beer Maker fan, make his debut here on the Woodward Bets. We're excited to have him join us. That'll be my regular partner moving forward. Chris is well known in the industry, so I'm sure you guys will get to join him, and then I can hand over this hosting duty to him, which is more along his lines, and gratefully so. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I'm normally a DFS player and a fantasy player, done some kind of small type shows, but we want to build some fun stuff here at Woodward Bets, Woodward Sports Network, and get some information out to the people, help you guys either learn how to play some DFS, learn how to sports bet a little bit better than we have been here. Got that new toy here in Metro Detroit where we can bet on our phones. But get over there, follow our Woodward Bets Twitter page. And today we were talking about some questions, sit and start questions that we asked you guys. Gone over our Twitter page, put it on in there. We'll get our best. Normally we'd have two of us here answering them, but did get to take a look at them. We'll look at the first one here from Jeff O. And then looks like some long number here, 620483409. But anyway, he asked, who should he start, Mike Davis or Tony Pollard? Kind of good question here, I think, right off the bat. Mike Davis kind of been struggling a little bit. It seems like Atlanta's just been down. That defense is really poor. He hasn't really had a good game script yet where they're just going to keep pounding the ball, but Pollard's interesting. I think I'm going to side with Tony Pollard here. So obviously Zeke's been struggling. Pollard's been getting quite a bit of snaps here. He actually outsnapped Elliott last week. So I'm going to go with Pollard here. I think they're going to try to give the ball more to Pollard. I'm starting to fall out of favor with Zeke. He's really not one of my favorite players anyway. So to see him struggle is kind of a joy for me. I've never been a fan of Zeke. I think it's probably because of the Ohio State thing. You know, I can't stand the Buckies. You'll learn that from me as we move forward. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tony Pollard, Jeff. I think that's probably who I'd play. Just seems like Dallas is going to be in a good situation. I think he ends up falling in the end zone for a couple. So I'd go with Pollard on that one. And then our second question that came from Scooter 4. He's got a trade question. He said, who would you look at here? Would you rather be on the side of Fields and Metcalf, or would you rather have Zeke and Higbee? I'm going to side with the Fields and Metcalf side here. Fields obviously is now coming into a starting job. We're really not sure what we're going to get out of him. I think we're going to get kind of a running type quarterback, but he does have some pretty decent weapons as far as wide receiver. So maybe as he goes along, he's obviously going to improve. I think the Bears are going to be losing quite a bit in some positions where he's going to be in a spot where he's going to have to throw. I wouldn't give up on Metcalf yet either. I mean, he's DK Metcalf. You know, as Chris, my partner, said yesterday, you know, with Lockett, you know, it's like, how many of them games is he going to have in a year? He's already had 2, so we're expecting the DK Metcalf. There's nowhere but to go up for DK. I really like that offense over there in Seattle with Wilson. Just let Russ cook. I think Metcalf's definitely in line here for some big games. And then you look at the other side of that, Zeke. I mean, this looks like he's fallen out of favor, even though they paid him all that money. And they're realizing, I think Pollard might be a better back than Zeke, especially at this point. So Zeke just seems like he's disinterested a little bit. But I don't mind Higbee at all. I just think it doesn't weigh out in the trade. Higbee's a guy getting 100% of the snaps over there at tight end for the Rams. Obviously a good offense with Stafford, but I just can't. It's not enough there. I'm just not a fan of Zeke, so I'm going to stick with the DK Metcalf side of that, who I think is the best player in that whole deal. Next question we have is from JAC818. He says, Tyson Williams is killing me. A lot of shares, a lot of touches. Should I start or sit this week against the Lions? I'm sure the Ravens' running game will kill it this week, but from who? You're right. It seems to be like pretty much a split. I do think the Ravens are going to be in a positive game script against the Lions where they are going to be running quite a bit. So I do like them both, Williams and Murray. Actually, if you're playing in a DFS format, I don't think there's any wrong with actually playing them both. I think you may see Williams more in the first half. You may see Murray more in the second half if they're up by 2 or 3 touchdowns. But me, I really think Latavius Murray, I got him in some DFS and some high-end big field GPPs. I think Murray could fall in the end zone twice. You would think the logical thing would be, if they're ahead, that Baltimore is not going to run Lamar Jackson around as much. I mean, they're going to try to save him. So if they get up, I don't see them really running. I think they're just going to hand it to all their running backs quite a bit. So, but it is a coin flip. But I do like Latavius Murray a little bit. But Taysom definitely has been the starter. It seems like they're leaning toward him, but I think as time goes on, he's going to get most of them carries. But this week, I really think it's going to be a 50-50 split. But for some reason, I think Murray's going to get a couple touchdowns. Moving on, we got Elvis, OSU7. Looks like he's a Buckeye fan. We won't hold that against you here. But obviously, he's asking a question here. He's got Amari Cooper or the Buckeye himself, Terry McLaurin. Man, I'm not a fan of McLaurin. I'm not a fan of that offense. I'm not sure the upside there. He does seem to be the number one target. But, we got Amari Cooper this week. I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. Way better offense. I think they got higher upside. Plus, I like that Monday night hammer. I like having a guy there at the end of the week. But Cooper's been a little bit questionable, so it looks like he's going to be good to go from what I understand. I'd be sure Cooper's in the lineup. Be sure he practices on Friday. Friday's a big day for injuries for the NFL. if they don't practice, that's where you really need to be concerned. Friday is the big practice injury day, which we'll get to here when we talk about some injury news that we're going to go through here soon once we get through some of these questions. But from our YouTube, we had Emerald Eyes 7. He's got question half-point PPR league. He's got CEH, Eli Mitchell, or Melvin Gordon. Ooh, that's interesting. It looks like, man, Mitchell I'd kind of watch. He wasn't at practice yesterday. He's got that concussion protocol. It looks like, I mean, if he does make it through concussion protocol, he is probably going to get the lion's share of them carries for San Fran. But I think that's going to be a share type backfield the rest of the way through. I mean, really, all these guys, I did run it through some optimizers. Looking at CEH does grade out higher on most of them, but they're really not too far off from each other. I mean, Melvin Gordon's going to be splitting carries with Williams, as we've seen. So that's kind of tough. But I think CEH, he has had some fumble issues. What worries me is that Williams got a couple goal line carries after that fumble. So that's what I worry about. So, you know, I think at this point, not knowing the Eli Mitchell, I think I'd just probably lean Melvin Gordon because CEH doesn't really have any value to me if he's not going to get any of them goal line carries. So you're going to have to watch that going forward. It really does scare me. I think everybody's realizing he's not going to be that number one running back that everybody thought in that Kansas City offense, that high scoring offense. But, you know, just keep your eye on that Eli Mitchell news. If he's in there, I probably would prefer him a little bit over Melvin Gordon, but at this point, obviously with Mitchell not passing them that concussion protocol, getting out of that, I'm going to have to lean Melvin Gordon. I did have one other question that came through late. Let me pull that one up. It was basically PPR wanted to know if he should start Edmonds or Gordon versus the Jets. And then also, do you take a chance with Cooper? Kind of answered that already. I think Cooper is going to be good to go on Monday night. Like I said, just watch that Friday injury. And then as far as Edmonds and Gordon's, you know, I'd probably lean Edmonds against Jacksonville. I think he's going to be in a better spot. I think he's going to get most of the carries. Like I said, I just worry about Gordon splitting carries with Williams. So I'd probably go Edmonds there. So make sure you guys get over there to our Woodward Bets Twitter page and follow us. Ask us some questions on Friday for our show. We'll be sure to get to them next week. I'm sure we'll have the beer maker fan. He's really good at answering these start-sit questions as well. Maybe he'd have a different opinion as me or be able to add a little bit. So make sure moving forward next week you guys get to check that out. Really excited to have him come join us. Even though Detroit Beast has been doing a great job for us, love having him on. We'll be sure we get a mixture of all of us coming forward as we move forward here. But I think a big thing on Thursday that I wanted to just pay attention to some guys. Obviously, Friday is a huge injury day news for the injuries. I'm going to mention some guys here that we need to kind of keep our eyes on moving forward. Obviously, CMC, we saw yesterday get hurt. He's going to have an MRI, which we should probably hear today, which, you know, he could miss some time. So hopefully, you know, it's not going to be too much. I think he's going to be out maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 tops. But, I mean, hamstrings injuries really suck. It's not a good one to have. But another one we should note is Daryl Henderson. He's got a rib injury. He did not practice yesterday. So that's going to be interesting with him moving forward as far as his injury, what we're going to see. If not, looks like Sony Michel is going to be a guy that we're going to be able to get some looks moving forward. A guy that obviously was a waiver pickup that we talked about. But we'll see. Again, keep your eyes peeled to today's injury report. If he gets out there as limited, then I think it kind of helps. Trey Sermon's another guy with the concussion protocol. This is the guy I think we're really going to have to watch. If he gets cleared, he was limited in practice. Obviously, no kind of hitting or anything like that. Looks like he just did some kind of light walk-through practice. But if Sermon gets cleared to go, I think he's going to get most of those carries, as we kind of talked about. So I'm interested in Trey Sermon. I want to kind of keep an eye on that. I might have some DFS interest in that because Eli Mitchell, who's another guy we're going to mention with that shoulder, he did not practice Thursday. So I'm kind of concerned. I don't think it's leaning like he may not be in. Another guy to keep our eye on. But if he doesn't play, we're going to have some Hasty and some Sermon there to pay attention. But Sermon's obviously the better back guy they traded up for. So hopefully he gets in there. Wouldn't mind seeing him get a full run, kind of help out our DFS lineups. A.J. Brown is another guy with the knee. He did return to practice yesterday. He was limited earlier in the week. Obviously, he had a few drops there and kind of vowed to have a better week this week. So I'm not really worried about him, but just kind of note he was limited a little bit with that knee. Don't like really when I see wide receivers with knee injuries, just always a concern. Kind of keep on your radar. Josh Jacobs' ankle, he did not practice. He did some non-contact stuff. So he's another guy here that I'm going to be paying attention to today with these with the injury report. Not sure if he's going to get out there or not, but that's going to be interesting. We'll see if he gets out there. Ankle injury, another one, obviously not good for running backs. But another guy with 2 ankle injuries, unfortunately for him, is Carson Wentz over there with the Colts. He did not practice Thursday, so that's going to be a debacle for them if he does not get in. That's going to be Jacob Eason's going to get out there if he's going to be not able to run. So, man, not going to be good for the Colts, especially with their game here coming up against Tennessee. That spread's not really too high, so I might really start looking at this Colts team here, or Titans team moving forward if Wentz doesn't practice today. That's going to be interesting moving forward. Dalvin Cook is a guy that I'm really going to be paying attention to with that ankle. He did not practice yesterday, but we're going to see. It looks like he does have a pretty good chance to get out there. If he does, I really like some Dalvin Cook. He's the guy, another guy that's on top of my radar for practice today that I'm going to be paying attention to. So Dalvin Cook is in a great spot this week. So hopefully he gets out there. Another guy we're going to keep our eyes on, Daryl Mooney. He had a groin. He was limited in practice on Thursday. We're going to have to keep an eye on him. Again, groin injuries, knee injuries, ankle injuries, stuff like that, or stuff that, I like to keep my eye on. Jamison Crowder was another guy that was not able to practice on Thursday, but we'll see about him as well. Deontay Johnson went out, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the week. He went out late in that game. He did not practice either. So maybe James Washington gets out there, might be a guy you might be able to look at. I think he's going to get an increase in looks this week over there for Pittsburgh. Johnson's been just so part of that offense over there. So I do want to keep my eye on James Washington. Going to be a low-end receiver we might be able to look at. And then the big news at wide receiver this week, obviously, is OBJ, Beckham Jr. Is he going to be in there? He fully participated in practice yesterday, so I really like his chances getting in there this week. So looks like OBJ is going to be good to go against them Bears. Pretty good game script. They're in -7, so I do like some OBJ back with some Mayfield there. So be sure to make sure he's in your lineup this week. And then we already had a couple questions about Amari Cooper with his ribs. He was limited, as we said, so really not too much concern. I think he's going to get out there. So Miles Sanders had a little chest issues, was limited on Thursday. I don't think that's going to be too much we need to worry about. Lamar Jackson had an illness. He did not practice Thursday. I'm not really concerned about that. It sounded like he just had some stomach issues. So I'm sure he'll get out there against the Lions. Why not? Pretty cupcake cupcake game out there for him on Sunday. I expect them just to roll the Lions. And as we said, that running backs are in a great game script in that one. DeAndre Hopkins also did not practice Thursday with some rib injury. I think he's going to get out there. He should play. Really not too concerned about him, but D-Hop's just been a guy that we got to kind of pay attention to moving forward. He's a beast. Really like him with who I call video game number 2 in our boy Kyler Murray. But another thing we got going on tonight, real quick, we got some MLB. We got a great slate for some DFS. It's actually my favorite sport to play DFS. As I said before, if you guys want to dabble in some baseball DFS, hit me up. I don't mind helping everybody out. Generally I like to stack up a few teams, pick some pitchers, mix it up a little bit. So when I talk about stacks, on FanDuel, 4 players from the same team, 4 players from another team, kind of pick a pitcher that fits, maybe sometimes start out with a high-end pitcher if I need to. And then obviously if I got a high-end pitcher, you kind of got to go down the bottom of the lineup on some of these better teams. But baseball is a lot of fun for me. It's wrapping down here, obviously, in the season. So there's some teams that really are not kind of disinterested. But we got 13 games. Haven't really dug too much in the weather. Doesn't look like there's that much as far as weather that we're going to have to be concerned about. But I got a couple of my stacks that I'm looking at. A couple of highest over-under games is that San Fran, Colorado game. Always out there in Coors. We got a high over-under. San Fran's one of the best hitting teams on the road, if not the best. I haven't checked the recent stats on them, but they're going out there to Mile High Stadium out there. They got an over-under at 12, which is a full 2 runs higher than the Dodgers and D-backs out there in Arizona, but which is at 10. So those are probably going to garner most of the ownerships for the lineups, which I don't blame them. I think they're both in good spots, especially San Fran and the Dodgers. But for me, I'm going to go with pitchers. I did nail that Joe Ryan guy the other night. I do like mixing up my pitchers generally. I usually like to play 5 teams or so, and I do like to mix them up. But today I got Dylan Cease and Sonny Gray on my radar. I like both those guys. Dylan Cease is a guy I generally play. I really like his strikeout upside. He's got the Indians tonight in Cleveland. He's only 9,000 on FanDuel. I really like his matchup here. Garrett Cole's 11K. He's the top high-end pitcher going against Boston. I mean, it's hard to go against Cole. I'm not a fan of playing against Boston, especially in Boston. I think I can get a 2K savings here with Dylan Cease, who I really like. And then in the same price range, Sonny Gray, 8,800 against Washington. I think Washington's kind of mailed it in. So I do like Sonny Gray in Cincinnati, even though Cincinnati is a pretty tough park. But I just like the win equity that Sonny Gray gets. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a little bit different in some tournaments. So different is good, obviously, in DFS. So I do like some Sonny Gray tonight for sure. But some of my top stacks I got, obviously I talked about the Giants out there in Coors Field. I'm going to have to stick with it. I'm going to eat that chalk. I mean, they almost have a 7 implied run total. They're going against Peter Lambert. They're going to be able to run out quite a few lefties: LaStella, Belt, Tommy Wade, Crawford, who I like. They're going to have Yastrzemski in there. I mean, this lineup's just really good up top to bottom. Obviously, the lineup hasn't come out yet with a 8:10 Eastern start, but man, I really like these guys. Brandon Belt, 3,800. He's projecting really high. I like Brandon Belt. I think he's probably going to hit a homer today. I really like him. You can also throw in Buster Posey from the right side, Chris Bryant from the right side, Longoria. I mean, this lineup's just stacked from top to bottom. I really like the home run potential we have here today. We could see 4 or 5 dingers here from the Giants. So I'm just going to go heavy on the Giants today. I really like the Giants. So we're gonna look at that. And then I think a sneaky little stack tonight might be the Rays against Miami. I mean, they're bringing up a young kid, first start. They're going to be going against one of the best offenses in baseball, the top scoring offense in the Rays. They only have an implied total of around 5, which obviously isn't as high as we saw with San Fran. But I really like the Rays here. You're going to get, actually that lineup did come out already, which is great. 3:30 here. I'm taping this, talking to you guys. So they got Brandon Lau up there at top. Wander Franco is probably one of the best young players you could consider building a franchise with him. He's 4K. He's pretty high, but G-Man is 2,500. He's pretty cheap. He's a pinch hit risk, so you might only get a couple at bats out of him if the Marlins bring in a lefty. He might get pinch hit. but very well could get a homer out of him right away. He's pretty cheap, but just know there is definitely a pinch hit risk there. Then you got Nelson Cruz, Meadows, Arozarena, and Wendell. And then you got Kiermaier at the bottom of that lineup, who obviously we saw was in quite some hot water there with the Blue Jays picking up their catcher sheet there that he had on his wrist, beamed him the next day, which, a lot of discussion about that. Me personally, I don't know if he should have took that. I mean, it wasn't his. He knew what he was doing. They showed a highlight of him trying to hide it and sneak it to the coach. So him saying that he thought it was his, come on. We're not believing that. But just some exciting stuff, something to watch moving forward, especially in the playoffs. I'm sure that'll get brought up here. But, so that'll about do it for baseball. I do like a bet here in baseball tonight. I do like the Reds. Like I said, I like Sonny Gray. They're actually plus 105 at this point against the Nationals. I really do like that. So get in on there, bet on the Reds tonight. But tomorrow we're going to talk about some college football. So make sure you take a peek at that tomorrow before you play some bets, get some stuff going for college football. Great day to tailgate. We got some undefeated teams here in Michigan. Both of them are looking to go, which I think we shouldn't have any issues moving forward with the two of us being undefeated. So hopefully you join us tomorrow. Appreciate you checking us out today. Make sure you get over there, follow that Woodward Bets page and the Woodward Sports. I'm Scott G. Risen. We'll see you. Thanks for joining me. Bye.